All right. Okay. So thank you very much. I will want to know that if our speaker are readily available for us. Let me start with Joseph Ogundari. Joseph, please, if you are with us, just say hello to everybody. Let's have your open remark before we go straight into the discussion, so that we'll be sure that everybody is together.
Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me,
All
I'm in
right. I would
transit,
have
so I'll just
preferred we hear your
participate.
voice. I would
If
have
you can
preferred
hear
you
me,
we hear
can you
your
hear me?
voice.
Good evening,
I can
moderator.
see
Can
in
you hear
the
me?
chat
Yes,
box
yes,
that
we can
Joshua
hear
is
you,
there,
Joseph.
but I would have
Okay,
loved to
thank
hear
you.
your
I'm in
voice.
transit, but I'm here.
All right, that's good to know. I can see our other speakers on the
Joshua,
call. I think that we can then proceed to ask a lot of the questions that we have, right? So my first question is to
yes, I can
you,
hear
Joseph,
you. I
right?
can hear you from you.
What has, what has been your biggest shock as a father
All right.
in this modern age? I mean, something that your father. Can you hear me, Joseph?
I don't know, it was sounding as though there were two moderators jamming, so I didn't get your question very well. You want to take it again, sir?
All right, so
Thank you.
I'll take my question again. I'll take my question again. I mean, looking at today's age, what has been your biggest culture chore as a father in this modern age? So worry about.
Plenty to say about that, but for me, the biggest will be to say the replacement of the core function of fatherhood in the name of wanting to um is it engage in the name of wanting to belong? So we say diversity and inclusion in this age. So like someone said, he said your duty as a parent is not primarily to be your children's friend. Your duty as a parent is to love, to direct, and to discipline. You now, if you want to put wanting to be their friends before that, you would mistake what is not love to be love. You will spare the rod and spoil the child. And then you will allow things that were not allowed in your time, things that shaped you, that you have refused to bring to the table to the child for the children. So it is the entire idea of thinking that the world has changed. So ethical practices have changed. Principles that guide families have changed. That for me will be it.
All right, thank you, Joseph. I'd like to quickly move to Mr. Bamiboye. I'll come back to you, Joseph. A lot will come back to you for a lot of questions. There is so much pressure today, Mr. Bamiboye, for men, especially very young men like myself, to always be strong, even when they are breaking inside. What advice would you give to a father who feels burnt out but is scared to ask for help?
All right. Thank you very much. This is Joshua. Good evening, everyone. Let me first thank the organizers of this, and let me also say that some of the things we'll say here are not prescriptive. Whatever works for you as a father um, is fine for as long as you can manage your family. Um, for me, the pressure of being strong in this age and time has never been overemphasized by the fact that um, you have to balance when they say work-life balance. it's not work life anymore. It's work, family, and then your life. You have to find a balance amongst the three. So even your life is not your own. Your family comes first. So in order to be strong, you now see that you juggle a lot of the balls. You juggle career, you juggle even academics, you juggle yourself, you juggle the family, both immediate and extended, and then everyone pulling you from side to side. And you wonder how you've been able to survive. I recall some years ago, I had a quarrel with my father, my God bless his soul. My uncle that was living with heard about it, and he said something. He said, Agbambo wa he said in Yoruba, Agbambo wa kan wa, and then you understand what it means. What he said was that you soon become an elder. He won't say you are a father. So he was really saying you soon become a father, and then you will see what my dad was talking about. So you find out that in order to be strong, you have to manage your emotions. I don't like to use so many big words when you talk emotional intelligence and the rest. Yes, you need that. But you just have to be strong for yourself first before you can be strong for the family. So that means that you have to, as a man, you need to take care of your health. You need to take care of your own financial stability. You need to take care of your own emotional stability. You need to take care of your own career so that you're in a very strong place to provide that support that is needed for your family. A lot of the children nowadays, when we grew up, I mean, old school parents, some of the things we will see now, you had mother was a teacher, father was a soldier, and so it was between should I say the devil and the deep blue sea growing up. But over time, being self-aware of the fact that you need mentors and you need those you look up onto, both male and female, has strengthened one to take hold of the pressure. So you have people that you can learn from. You see their ways of life. You see how they manage their family, how whether they have succeeded or not, how they've been able to balance their own career and their family. And then you take a clip from there and say, look, let me take bits and pieces from here, and then let me see how I can infuse that into my own way of life. So that's what I do.
All right, so still staying with you, Joshua. Let's bring it closer home, right? How do you take care of your mental health? I know you talked about this. You've also talked about emotional intelligence. You know what? I know you also mentioned that this is not prescriptive. You do what works for you. So, what rituals or habits do you use or do you adopt to keep yourself grounded as a father and also as a child leader?
So I try to stay with friends. I have very few friends that I call friends. I have acquaintances. So as much as I can, I speak to my friends. I was going through a challenge some time ago, and then I called this my friend, and I said, I don't know how to put this, or what? How is this? He said, oh, you are not the only one. I'm going through this as well. And then we shared ideas, we shared views, and then I'm able to know that, oh, it's not only me that's going through this. Most of the mistake we make is the fact that we think that we are alone, we men. So I've tried as much as possible to stay close to my friends, those are my family, my support system, my siblings. I talk to them. I won't say I'm an absentee father, but I work in Lagos. Then I used to work in Benin, and my family is in Ibadan. So I try as much as possible where I can to speak to my wife without necessarily putting her on edge. Yeah. So a lot of the time, I don't discuss much with her because I try to manage a lot of the things I do so that she doesn't fret a lot. Yeah. And then that can make me think. So I ensure that I'm in touch with my family. At times, whilst on training, I take extended holiday. So I'm on training outside of the country. I use that as part of opportunity to rest as well. And I tell just to create some measure of calmness around me, I attend occasions. In fact, over this weekend, I attended 2 occasions in Elisha and Ife. I just came in not quite long now, just to ensure that I balance my mental health, and I do a lot of prayers. God is the ultimate, so I do a lot of prayers. At times I do prayer and fasting. At times I just worship God because you can't take that away. And I find out that there is some calmness that comes. It might not be immediate, but yes, those are the things I do. I call to friends, speak to family, pray, attend functions, just to feel good around that aspect and ensure that I'm mentally strong to face the battle ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. I don't know, Emmanuel was having some network challenges at some point. I don't know, Emmanuel, if you have sorted that out, so that you can also ask your questions to the other members of the panel.
But, thank you, Lewis. I don't know if you can hear me now. Because of I want to apologize. My network has not been very, very stable. It's been raining all
Yes, we can hear
day.
you, Emmanuel.
All right, great. So I will still be speaking with you, Joshua Bamidwe. Thank you very much. So the question I would love to ask. So when we talk about fatherhood, and based on the experiences and everything you just share with us now, how does the modern day fatherhood, what impact or foundation does it create with talking about the future of everything? Let me just use the word everything. That we believe that what we do today are foundation of what happens tomorrow. So what connection does fatherhood now have, or how we raise our children, how we raise the home? What impact does it have on the future that we are expecting?
Thank you, Manuel. In fact, I think not that I think there is a disconnect between how we were raised and how we are raising our children now. And I said that with a sense of responsibility, fairness to the modern day father or mother or parents, as it were. And a lot of us here, I wouldn't know the age bracket and the demography, yeah. But the truth of the matter is that when I look at how I am raising the children God has blessed us with, my wife and I, and how we were raised, particularly myself, at times I smile and I say, "What? This we couldn't have survived when we were growing up." Now, to be honest, I think that at some point in time, getting close to my mom, because she's a teacher and she had a lesson school, getting close to her and in the lesson school sort of taught me a bit of how to work with children, one. And then as I grew up, got married, before having children, I worked in the teens church. So that sort of, to a large extent, prepped me for fatherhood. But theory is different from practical. You having your own children is different from looking after other people's children. But one thing we were intentional when we got married, my wife and I, was we have to agree how to discipline the children. I'll tell you a story, just short one. Our first child, a girl, was about 6, 7 months old, lying in between my wife and I on the bed. And then one way or the other, a thumb or one finger straight into her mouth. And then she started to suck. And then the mother spanked her. Can anybody guess what she did? She looked towards me. As young as she was, she looked towards me, and then I spanked her. Then she started crying. When her mommy spanked her, she didn't cry. Guess what would have happened? If I had not spanked that hand, the finger its way back to her mouth, and I doubt if any Jupiter will be able to take it from her. So we were intentional. So one, I'll say parents should be intentional about discipline. Yes, we talk about love. So I will not talk about love more because a lot of the time we dwell more on love. And I think you said it in your opening remarks that a lot of the time they say we should love, we should direct, and we discipline. Growing up, my mom, I had a quarrel with while growing up. Coincidentally, in this Ibadan, some guy who was physically challenged, right, beat me, and I cried. I was going inside as my mother saw it. Being a teacher, she stood at the door and said, "Which house are you going? And you want to enter which house? Somebody who is physically challenged beat you and you are crying." And she gave me the secret of how to deal with the person. And then she said, you don't know, you know what? That leg that is good, you carry. The one that is not good will not allow him to stabilize. It will fall. I said, okay, go back now. I want to. You can guess what happened after. So I was intentional about telling my children, don't allow yourself to be bullied. You see, you're in school, anybody is trying to bully you, speak up and don't hesitate to speak up. If there are any issues, your teachers are there, we are here, I'm here, your mom is there, you can talk to anyone. And I can tell you for a fact, that is what has happened. So one, be intentional about discipline, be intentional about directing, yeah? And then also, don't, for instance, I can tell you for free, anytime my children are in exam period, you can't find the decoder, the DSTV or whatever it is, active. Automatically, whether by default or by planning, you can't find it active until they finish exams. And then also, presence of mind to their growth and development. Don't spoil them. I'll give an instance. I like to talk a lot of stories because I think it helps pass the message across. My younger sister sent me money to buy iPhone for my daughter. She was just going into year 1.
I don't know if is my network or
I will buy a very good phone for you. Hello?
Hello, Joshua. You might
Can you hear
network
me?
is breaking at some point. Yes, we can hear you now,
Hello?
but it was
Can you hear
breaking
me?
at some. Yes, we can hear you, but it was breaking at some point.
Okay, all right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now. It's better now. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So just to cut the story long, be intentional, presence of mind, attention to details is what I've tried to do with my son, with my daughter, to ensure that they are there, right? And then looking into the future, if we are not careful as modern day parents, we will miss the mark. A few years ago, about a decade ago, I was on a flight from Port Harcourt to Abuja. My family was still in Abuja. And there was a man seated beside me. Whether I was a pastor, I wouldn't know, but he said something. He said, the problems we have now are the problems of our parents. That you see, the children we have now, we have not seen the beginning of their problem. By the time we see it, God will help us as parents. And I've prayed that prayer. God will help us as modern day parents. We tell ourselves we don't want our children to go through what we went through. I can tell you now, my son, when he got to both himself and his sister, when they got to SS1, I made sure that they started ironing their clothes. But I started ironing myself, my clothes right from one. So you must start it. I was in a boarding school. At some point in time, they had to join me to be washing the car, even if just to stand beside me and not do anything. And then now, they both can wash the car, even if they are mother's car, they can wash the car. My son prepares one of the best sauce I can find for spaghetti because my wife pulled them to the kitchen. I said, nobody, you don't have any slave in this house. You must come to the kitchen because maybe your father and all your uncles and aunties can cook. So you want to have the best of sauce for your spaghetti, please. Once you're in Ibadan, you are invited. And if it is to make egg sauce, you can't take that away from my daughter. I can tell you for a fact. So we need to bring these children up, one, in the way of the Lord, two, be intentional and deliberate, right, about their growth, about their development, and helping them. And when there's time for them to rest, tell them go and rest. I once in a while I struggle with my wife on that to say, look, this guy has been reading. Just let him rest more. Let him rest more. Then you are letting him. I say, don't worry. You will. And then I go back to tell him, look, rest, but make sure that you study. There's time for everything, so they know that. Let me stop there.
All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. That's very very spot on. Okay. Let me be putting this to Joseph. I don't know if Joseph is with us on this call. Uh, uh, Joseph, hi, are you with us, please? Okay. I
Really
don't know.
struggling with the
I
network. It's
can't see
throwing me
him.
in and out, but then I can hear you. Go on.
All right. Okay. So I be addressing this to you now. Now it's still on fatherhood, this modern day parenting that we're talking about. So I recently I was in a discussion with some set of people, and a statement came out, and I wanted to help us talk into it. It said the Gen Zs that we are talking about, and um all their behavioral and attitude that we are referring to today are a product of how of the parenting they come up to see. Like he said, what we are facing now as relating to Gen Z is how they have been brought up, the kind of parenting that we have shown them, like that is the millennials now. They are now a product of our parenting style. What do you have to say to this? Now, is the is there any impact truly in the behavior of this set of generations that we are having today? Does it have anything to do with the parenting model that the past generation have shown to them? I want you to talk to this, please.
Okay, apologies. I know my network has been bad. I'm in transit, like I said. So I will try and be brief as I give my responses to these questions. You see, when people speak about Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Z, it's becoming another gospel. It's becoming another theory. It's giving its own philosophy. Um, well, the way the different generations have gone, maybe from the traditionalists to the boomers generation. I think there is a problem with most of those who are older parents right now. By that, I refer to, for me now, I do not need anybody to agree with me. I consider the Generation X class to be perhaps, in part, one of the most confused generation. I'll tell you one of the most confused generation because in an attempt to play this thing we call diversity and inclusion. Now, I've always said that any thought, any theory, any system that is not rooted in culture, it is the same thing with um, democracy. I was speaking with some people yesterday and I said, any democratic principle that is not rooted in culture the capability and the system of the people will fail. So I was asking the question, tell me one or two fundamental difference between the Senate and the House of Representatives. Nobody could tell me anything. So I said, okay, why are we operating two houses? Why not one? Same thing with the system we're seeing now. For those of us in the Generation S class, when we're growing up under our parents, I imagine you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, for example, and then you wanted to bring that person home into your father's living room. When I use the word your father's living room, maybe your father's living room, who was a military officer in a Keja cantonment, and you will want to bring a girlfriend into his living room. No prior conversation. You bring the girlfriend into his living room. He sits on his couch. You sit close to the girl. In Yoruba language, talo bie, tamba bai. You know, those were some of the things that would never happen during that time. I'm trying to relate with. Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you,
we
Joseph.
can, but we understand
Yes.
network.
Okay.
We are,
Okay. Sorry.
we
The
are
network will just be taking me off once in a while. You know, so for
yeah, it's
those of us
fine,
in
but
the
we can
Generation
manage.
S class, for those of us in the Generation S class, in dealing with the millennials, you know, would always say the millennials are the Gen Y. So they came, like they would say, they are the Sorosoke generation. They're asking the questions. The questions we probably did not ask. Maybe because we were too timid to ask. And again, maybe that generation growing up in Nigeria, and when I speak now, it's a global thought, but I'm rooting it in a Nigerian setting here. Our parents grew up much more under military dictatorship. So that timidity was sown into more of those in the boomers class. And you remember when the Civil War happened, if anybody in our generation wanted to ask questions about Civil War and say, initially, they'll say, oh, shut up, or if you see war, you go run. You will not be able to stand it. But you see, because many of us were either too young or we probably didn't even see the war in Nigeria, this particular generation you call the millennials are coming up and asking the questions because we didn't experience it maybe very directly. We're not telling them stories, we're not telling them anything. So they are asking bold questions. In an attempt to answer their bold questions, we are unconsciously leaving space to accommodate some things that morally and ethically. So you say the place of ethics and moral. I don't even want to make this a religious conversation because many, even within the religious conversation, are very confused. So, you know, people are not breaking down concept on why things should be the way they are to people. Lots of questions in the midst of many preaching, plenty churches, morals are going lower. There's a problem, a bigger problem. So what I'm looking at here is why they are raising the question and attempt to answer. We're shying away from so many questions. We're shying away from being straight. We're shying away from being blunt. We want to be very diplomatic with so many answers. So with diplomacy comes unnecessary accommodation of um, newly developed moral principles that we are gradually making a norm and they are gradually ruling. Even in the workplace, somebody will say, in an attempt to take in what everybody, you call the Gen Zs or the Gen Alpha are doing, we should shift space for them. Was that space shifted for me in my time? It wasn't shifted. Did the company die or did it become better? So while I'm saying the way we apply diversity and inclusion and every interpretation that goes with it, we must consider culture. We must consider system. I have friends abroad who will tell you, and many of them are even doing it now, sending children back home to come and learn morals in Africa, in Nigeria. So, having said that, let me answer your question really straight. There's a whole lot we're doing to accommodate nonsense. There's a whole lot we're doing to take in rubbish. Forgive me for using those words. We are not firm. We are sending moral principles on very long sabbatical. They are coming back to haunt us, and they're going to haunt us real bad. I think when it comes to parenting, we must understand the fact that parenting and funding are not necessarily the same thing. Giving a child a good home, a beautiful house to live in, getting a driver to take them to school, putting them in the best school does not amount to parenting. So parenting is intentional. Parenting is being involved. Parenting is being present. Parenting is being the coach. Parenting is being the mentor. Parenting is being the guide. In all of this, we must still parent to help the children grow not with a dependent mentality, but with an independent mentality. Now, I'll be very straight with you. There is so much we're doing right now that is affecting the way things are going. With regards to the Gen Z, and by implication, you say the Gen Alpha, we are accommodating too much. We're not really helping them. Now, even those that are spiritually minded people or parents, you take them to church, but are they in church? So it's not about saying, let us go to church. You must wake up every Sunday and we must go to church or go for Bible fellowship. I am in church, but there's a church in me. I go to church, but what impact has church made in me? Even if it is the mosque you go to, who is checking? Are there genuine conversations going on? Are there checks and balances from the part of the parent to see to it that these things are working the way they should? See, if I start talking about this part of it, we will not go on with other part of this conversation, but I hope I've been able to help a little bit. We are giving room for too much. We are shying away from too much. And because of that, we are accommodating some things we need not accommodate. Trust me, they will come back to bite us. And that bite may not be good. Let me stop it at that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joseph. That is really is a lot to take in, and honestly, I really agree with you on a lot of things that you have said. Ikena, please, you permit? I don't know if I'm permitted to refer to you as Oga HR, as you're popularly known on this call. So can we have your take also on this discussion, on this particular discussion? Even considering your part of the culture. Those what are the things that we are doing that is contributing to what we are seeing today in this so-called Gen Z. So we would like to hear from you, Ikena.
Ikena would speak. I'd just like to put a disclaimer that so we are not, you know, unintentionally triggering any generation. This conversation is not focused on Gen Z. Yes, there are correlations we will bring in to show distinctions in generations and upbringing and all that. But generally, not just to make it look like we're speaking to Gen Zs so we don't get dragged, right, Emmanuel?
Yes, of course, you're right. So that's very very correct. Actually, no, we are there is no how we want to talk about creating shaping the future if we did not also trace back the past. And like I said, these become a matter of concern based on some discussions that I've heard people said. And again, now we have already started hearing about the is it Alpha Gen now, another generation that is gradually coming up. So that is why let's talk about the impact of parenting to these generational changes that we are having today. So that is the basic idea behind the question. Of course, like you rightly said, we are not focusing on the Gen Z, but it just becomes a referring point because these are the set of people we have to deal with at the moment, especially when we're considering the work environment. So thank you very much for
Emmanuel,
bringing that up.
sorry,
You're
moderator.
very correct.
Can I be real? Can I be real? If we have to put Gen Z on the table, moderators, and dissect issues about Gen Z, what is wrong with it? Now, this is one other issue I'd naturally just have. I don't want to be dragged. I don't want us to be dragged. Everything I share here, of course, will be my opinion. I don't mind being dragged. Okay? See, if tomorrow you put Gen X on the table, I'm going to take Gen X on and tell you a lot of things my generation is doing that has affected generation negatively. It doesn't mean, of course, there are the positives. If it gets to the millennials, if you want to put them on the table and dissect issues, let's not gradually begin to shy away from a few things. If anybody want to drag, are you on the path of the truth? Yes or no? Now we're not going to drag anybody to extreme to any negative thing here. Nobody's going to run anybody down. And when we use Gen Z, we're not using the entire Gen Z. Of course, they are fantastic human beings in that generation who, when it comes to morals, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to work, their ethical principles are top notch. The question is this: why would those that are not there not learn from them? So let us keep. Apologies to you, but for me, I'd say let's send on holiday this talking about not wanting to be dragged. Was Jesus not dragged? Please, let's not just keep shying away from some of these things. We have to put some things that are going on now on the table and deal with it. Please, by all means, let's deal with it. We are not referring to one particular person. We're dealing with issues.
All right,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I don't know if we have a guy HR. If you would like to hear from me too. I am not sure if Ikenna is on this
Yes,
call.
I'm
If you
here.
can hear me, all right. Okay, please. Can we hear from you? What's your take on this discussion?
What's my what?
What's your take on this same discussion we are talking about?
So what's my
The
what?
impact of your take. What's your take? What's your opinion on this discussion? What the impact of modern day parenting into the behavioral aspect and some of the things we are seeing, especially in those generations that we have. What do you think? What are the correlation and what do you think we can start doing better in the area of parenting so that we can start seeing the positive behavior from these generations?
Okay. My father was a very or is a very great influence in my life, or was when I was growing up. When I was growing up, he was a very great influence in my life. I remember when I was going to school, advice was coming from my mom. Sat me down, was talking to me. So person sat me down, was talking to me, and my dad just said one thing, and he said, I should just go and keep doing what I'm doing the way I said, but mom have given me advice. What he said, for him, he doesn't have any advice. You see, for that kept ringing in my head in my 4 years in school, meaning that there was something that I was doing that he loved, or that I was doing right. Okay, because my people will say, when they say what you are doing is good, keep doing. What you are holding is right. Hold it very, very, very right. And that's in the literal translation from Igbo. What am I saying now is that I think most parents now, we are beginning to see that our children are more self-aware. But not everybody have realized that, and that is the danger. I think for me, parenting is more of listening, because our parents did more of talking. Maybe my dad did not have anything to say because he was naturally a quiet person, but I can use my uncles to justify that most of our parents, especially fathers, and mothers anyway, they want to talk, they want to play, they want to remote most of the lives of their children. Okay, they want to remote most of the lives of their children. They want to police their children, and that is the danger. And that is why it's as if this generation there is something different from what has been happening before. No, the generation now is becoming more self-aware. I'll give you an example. My daughter is 2 years old. On Saturday, week today, she wanted to take a bath in the afternoon. She said, I want to bath like in the afternoon. And I said, so she was entering to my bedroom. And I said, no, let me go and bath you. She said, no, I should go out. And she was pushing the door. I should, I should go out. I was like, how old are you? He said, 2 years old. I said, exactly. So I have to bath you. He said, no, I can bath myself. I should go out. And not just that she can bath, that she's even pushing me to stay out of the door. Because when I want to take my bath, I'd ask her to stay outside. So this is 2 years, 6 months. So children are becoming more self-aware. Something happened just some few days back again. I was on top of my voice. And she did something, and I shouted immediately and shouted the second time, I was going for the third time. The next said, Daddy, you're shouting. And I drew back and I'm shouting, and I changed it to, hey, my daughter, my friend, The truth is that we can't continue in the manner our father, for those who have very disciplined, strict father, to be strict with our parent, with our children. Especially when your children go to boarding school, you are likely to lose them. For instance, you do the first 6 years, maybe they enter JSS1 at 10 years, if maybe like my type, 10 years at JSS1. I didn't go to boarding school, I went to a day school. So if I'd gone to a boarding school, come back once in a term, in a year, maybe I'm seeing my parents 4 or 5 times, they don't know what I'm becoming. But if they are policing me, there is more tendency of me trying to see, what is that? Why is that thing they're even trying to protect me about? So I think now, because of the level of awareness children have gotten, we need to be good listeners as parents. So I do less of talking when I'm with I engage her, but using my head, okay, following her conversation, trying to understand her thought process, even as 2 years old. But we think that most of our fathers, those they think that a 2 years old child, you should just only just direct the child, do this. Yes, you are directing, but there's an extent you can direct. When you are not there, what happens? I stayed 4 years in school. In a school, I entered the school at the time when cultism was very high. No dressing was very high. So I had every reason to join cult if I wanted to join, smoke if I want to smoke, and join any kind of gang I wanted to join. My parents were not there. So we need to understand that it's not about police, it's not about presence when they are with you. The discipline that you should give to your children is discipline that they will exhibit when you are not there to police them. And that is where I think parents has actually parents of other generation and my generation have not really gotten it right. But we have to start doing listening. We have to start being partners, being involved in what our kids do. Who are your kids' friends? Even what are their names? Get involved in what they do. Okay, like to the two speakers, Joseph and who was I think the first speaker spoke about, it's not about paying school fees or getting a driver for your kids. No, it goes beyond that. You have to be involved mentally. You need to understand what they are thinking. You need to understand their emotions. We often feel like, yeah, my child, I know the best for them. That's why those days they wanted many of us to either read law or engineering or doctor. But today, kids want to be a rapper. My other brother was one of the first people, I think, in Nigeria to become a rapper, and he was being locked up every now and then by his own parents. That is not a kind of thing I want to try with my child. No matter what my child does, I don't think I'll have that mind. My parents were that kind of, they'll lock him up 2 days and give condition that nobody should bail him until my uncle comes. Even when my uncle comes, they know he can't bail him. So, but after that, what happened? So parenting has evolved, and it has evolved because technology has evolved. People have changed. Times are changing. We must acknowledge that. We will not say because our time it happened like this and therefore it happened like that. My cousin, his father beat him one day till enter coma. He beat him till enter coma, and he's today saying that he's going to look at the way they treated they trained him. He's going to train his child. I said, don't touch any of my nephews and my nieces. Don't beat them like that they beat you like a thief. Doesn't mean you're going to beat your own child like a thief. So now it's more of having conversation, giving them reason why they should not do what they are doing. I think that's the best way, one of the best ways we should begin to go now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I see Joshua, your hand is raised. I think you maybe
Thank
want to
you
add a
very much,
perspective.
Oga HR. That's a spot on. I can see Joshua hand is raised. I don't know if he want to say chip in something quickly.
Yes, thank you very much. Just to support Oga HR, Ikenna, there are no babies anymore. Some years ago, my cousin called me and was complaining that he's a pastor. You understand what that means? And then living in Asaba, the daughter was in Uniben. And then she came home one day and was wearing bomb shorts. And then he was complaining that, can you imagine? Your daughter is wearing bomb shorts? And this after he has made the complaint, I said, you should be grateful that he's wearing bomb shorts in the house. Do you know what she's wearing in school? He kept quiet. I said, if you do, you would drive this guy. That she's bold enough to wear it at home. You should be glad. What you can tell is that just be covering up when visitors is coming. I don't know what you are wearing in school. Till she got married some months ago, she never gave them any problem. You would think that girl will give them problem, but she never gave them problem. It was just passing a message across that you are the pastor. I am not the pastor. I am just a pastor's child. Let me live my life. And I said, don't make that mistake of Eli, the prophet, who was praying for others, but left his own family and didn't take care of his children. So I just I should say that like Ekena said, we need to listen. You know, at times, actually, I think my wife is on this call. I told her to join. At times, she will call me and say, hey, come and talk to this person. I say, who is the mother? You or the daughter? Listen. And then when you say, it is this, I say, go and listen to your mother. Whatever she says, listen and ask her, talk to her. A lot of the time, parents don't want to listen. We want to direct and command. I don't know when was the last one they celebrated Mother's Day. My daughter was telling me that it's Mother's Day, so you need to plan to take. I say, my daughter is advising me to take her mother out. Will I advise my daddy that one? So I told her, I said, okay, don't worry, it's in the pipeline and stuff like that. So we need to listen more to them. Thank you, Ogaija. Thank you. I hope you heard me. Louis.
Thank you. I did. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Emmanuel, I thought maybe you were continuing. All right, thank you so much, everyone. But that's not neglecting that we have a fourth speaker, right, on the panel today. His name is Daniel Akorede, and I want to quickly ask Daniel, how do you shift the narrative, right, so that now looking at single dads or stepfathers or even uncles who are on this call, who are also playing very key fatherly roles, how do you feel shifting this narrative for them to feel seen, supported, and respected? I mean, coming from the perspective of co-parenting now, to blended families, how fatherhood has now come in many forms, right? People even say on some days, even on Mother's Days, that these are mothers who are playing the roles of fathers. Looking at how this how all of these conversations and how these rhetorics have come into shape parenting. To you, Daniel, how do you think that this, for people in this space, how do they feel seen? How do they feel supported and respected?
Well, thank you very much. I must confess that I've learned a lot from all the facilitators so far. In fact, my notes is full here. I've been jotting and writing a lot. So to your question, well, I would say that just like we mentioned, fatherhood is not just centered around biology. It has to do with an intentional living. We must be able to demonstrate what we want the future generations to see. Take, for example, for our kids. So, in responding to your question, I would say it has to do with building a supportive network. And at the same time, it is important we normalize mental health conversation. As father, we carry a lot of weight. Yeah. So, we have a lot of bills to sort out and all of that. So, when it's come to co-parent, it's more of a teamwork. It has nothing to do with whether you are a single father or or a guardian. It's all about you making sure that you are intentional about listening to your children, being there, being present to them. So it basically has nothing to do with whether you're the one who gave birth to the child directly. But once you're able to stick with the basic tenets of parenting, which is being supportive, listening, and also being an active co-parent, well, you are good. So in all, I'll just put in a nutshell, the best, the best thing to do is to ensure that we speak out whenever we find ourselves in a situation whereby we cannot, heal ourselves. So we ensure we speak out to people, find someone that you can actually, open up to when you are weighed down with so much burden. Find someone you can open up to, and with that, we can shape the future we're looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm still with you. You know, Joshua talked about um, the instance where the wife would call him, regarding him, of course, as the discipline department, and of course, he would say, who is the mother, right? Now, looking at this conversation now around stereotypes, seeing fathers as the discipline department within the home, while mothers are the emotional ones. How do we begin to manage this stereotype? Because of course, it's now beginning to harm certain generations, because some people believe that the father is a disciplined one and they don't have that connection with the father. So when they want to have some emotional conversations, they have those conversations with the mother. So how can fathers break that mold?
Well, I will start by saying that this is what I can speak to, because while I was growing up, I never had that opportunity to still connected with my dad. Please, can you hear me clearly, please?
Yes, I can.
All right. So I never had the opportunity to stay, emotionally connected with my dad. You will agree with me that today's father looks different from what we have, many years, So in the past, many fathers are mainly, providers, but what we're looking at now is a multi-dimensional role. So we need to begin to think towards that lane, because if I'm gonna be closer to my son or to my daughter, I need to be a good listener. While I was growing up, my dad would just give a command: do this thing. You dare not ask question. You dare not. What tani? What you tani? So the thing is, we must be intentional about how we parent. I mean, how we nurture our children. Just like the first facilitator mentioned, he said we are giving room for too much, which is true, right? But the modern father, our role is to create a balance. There's nothing wrong with spending time listening to our kids. They can ask questions. They are so curious. They can ask 1,001 questions within the space of 1 minute. But our own role is to pay attention to them. So that thing I lacked while I was growing up, I'm beginning to make it an intentional act that I must spend time with my children. I must spend time with my son. I must spend good time with my daughter. Let them ask me questions. So it won't look like, oh, whenever the mom wants to beat the son, he call the dad, daddy, come on. I mean, I will report it to your dad. That's wrong. You don't call me when you want to beat your son. You call me when you want to, engage them. So it shouldn't be a stereotype rule that the dad should be the one to, to discipline the son. And that's why I must be intentional about, taking up the role of a multi-dimensional father. That is being a nurturer, listening to them, and an active co-parent. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel. I'll come to you again, but let me go to Ogaicha Ikena. Ikena, please. I mean, this is on a lighter note now. In your perspective, what's harder, delivering KPIs at work or answering the many questions of your children or your child? Which is harder?
They can ask Kiki, what is this?
So we have this mission for even fear fathers more than their mothers.
And that's where I said we need to create a balance.
Are we still on the call?
Yes, we are here. I think we lost
Okay.
Ogaicha.
Yes.
We are here.
Okay, Ogaicha, did you answer my question? I had network challenge for a moment, for a very brief moment.
I didn't even get the question.
Oh, the question was, which is harder, delivering your KPIs at work or answering the questions of your children? I mean, young ones who are coming up and asking a lot of questions, which is harder?
Okay, both of them play different role. I don't think any of them is harder or simple. Depends. Both of them are what you have to do. But the difference is that for work, if you can change a job, you can change your job tomorrow, and you move on with your life. But you see, when you get it wrong with your kids, it's gonna really affect you in future. So that is why you must answer the right questions in the right way. You must answer their questions in the right way, rather. For instance, when we are growing up, we'll hear your pee. That line boy touch your pee. What's your pee? That line boy touch your nyonyo. What's your nyonyo? Those are the things that we don't tell them. So I tell my daughter, don't let me touch your vagina. This is your vagina. Say my bumbo. No, that's not your bumbo. Look, your bumbo is at the back. Your vagina is at the front. So we need to tell them what is what. So someone will not go and touch your daughter. And in my own case, I just have daughter now. So someone touch your daughter and you say that someone touched me at your bum, and you're just assuming that it's actually at the bum and not at the vagina. So if I have a son today, I'll tell him, don't allow me to touch your penis and not touch your yon, your kong, and all those names that we give to it, just so that it will not it will sound somehow. What is that? So I try to answer those questions as difficult as they are, at least for my nieces and my nephew. I was on that carried almost all of them, about 12 of them, because I stayed more with my elder ones, and I'm the last. So I gave even their parents like, why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this way? But before I became a father, in fact, before I became a father, I think I was already reading so many books, going to so many seminars while I was still single, while I didn't have any child. So when eventually I had the child, it was almost like, yeah, theory might be different, but it's if you have the theoretical background, it will be easier for you to fit into the practical background. So we have to answer the questions rightly. It might be difficult, but we have to answer it rightly. My daughter is at the stage of asking you, what is this? What is this? So she sees my laptop, say, what is this? My laptop. What is this? My mouse. What is this? For me, that is reaffirmation and confirmation. So you don't just be like our typical parents. So you take your mouse and say, Mommy, what is this? You say, don't know what is that, Abby? It's pot of soup. It's pot of soup. Or Daddy, what is this? It's your uncle's tale. You don't know what is this, Abby? So we had those kind of we had those kind of upbringing, but it's time that we should call a spade and not a tool for digging the ground. So as difficult as the question may be, we have to answer it. I was in church and they were talking about some particular group came to do marketing, and they're talking about we do this, we teach you Billings method, how you Billings method. Then again in the church, I'm in the choir, I'm a chorister, and the girl was not asking. The girl is just one of these children that comes to join chorister, parents push to join chorister. So she's about 11, 12, I'm not sure she's up to 13. And she asked, she asked the lady beside her, Susan, he said, Auntie Susan, what is Billings method? He says it's just one kind of method like that. Don't worry, you grow up. I say you not grow up to know it, you will know it today. Do you know what Billings method is? I told her what Billings method is. You have to know. After church, she ran to tell her parent that look at what Ikenna told me. The parent, the mother came to thank me, say thank you that sex education. She doesn't even know that is good like that. I say it's good. The father called me that night and was still thanking me for that. That I don't why was the other person trying to just say you grow up to know what it is? So we need to begin to answer the children question, even when they've asked that in severally. There's sometimes what I do when she asks me, what is this? I'll ask her, what do you think this is? What is this? So I want to, she says it's a mouse. I say, oh yes, it's a mouse. You got it right. We need, this is, like I said, this generation of our kids are becoming very aware. Sometimes they might have gotten the answer or a particular name or whatever it is from somewhere else. They want to confirm from you. So if you are the parent believing that their question is too difficult and you're avoiding it, the time to train your child for you. Remember when you are sleeping, for those that have an Android phone, when you are sleeping, Android phone is training your child for you. The TV is training your child, Netflix is training your child, DSTV is training your child, the street is training your child. There was a place I used to stay before now, and from inside the house, you could hear children say, your father. And somebody, my neighbor's child, who we presume was Ajebota, one day the younger brother did something and said, your father. I said, which of the father? Your younger brother's father? So even when you're in your house, outside is training your child. So you need to set it right. You can change your job. If the questions if your KPI become difficult, look for another job. But if your children's question becomes difficult, there's nothing you can do. You just have to answer it. Answer it correctly. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Guy Char. We have two very quick comments from Joy on the chat. Before I could pose the first one to Joshua, I think he has responded to it on the chat already. But I will still retain two quick questions for Joshua. First, I will use the one on the chat. Joy says, what do you want for your child? What do you want for your child?
For me, honestly speaking, I want the best, but they must chart their own course. My wife and I were both social science focused. For the two children we have assigned, my son can draw. I've never told him not to draw. In fact, we got an art teacher for him because that could be his skill. Recognize the fact that look, you don't touch children to doctor, lawyer, and the rest. And now, because of that love for drawing, he wants to study Aki. He wants a science-based subject in school because we got someone to help him mold up his inquisitiveness towards things. So I want the best for them, but I want them to chart their own course. Of course, being guided by God. So it's just to provide that support for them to know that we're not forcing anything on them. Same for the sister. Just do what you want to do, and then we'll guide you. If you have any question, reach out to us, and that's just it.
Right. So my second question, Joshua, is also echoing what Ikena has mentioned around multiple elements helping to raise your children, and I know in HR we say culture eats strategy for breakfast. How can communities, I mean, faith groups, schools, or even bringing it to us in the professional setting, HR department, how can we create a culture that supports fathers, to support them? Because invariably, a lot of fathers are struggling in this exercise, in this assignment, right? So how can we create a culture that supports fathers to not just be the best at work, but also be the best at home?
See, where I currently work, we have a men's group. And over the years, we've brought in men to come speak to men. So we have our male directors, male bosses come to speak with us and bring in external facilitators to come speak with men. That is coming in from the professional angle. We have what we call EAP, Employee Assisted Program, where people can speak up. But being us, being men, we hardly want to talk. I told you earlier that I was going through a challenge and I was hesitating in speaking to my friend, who is also a guy, right? And then I said, guy, I'm going through this. So, and then the next thing was, he started laughing. He said, that is what I'm going through. To me, I don't know what to say. And we spoke about it. We shared views. How could we could we do this and attend to this? And the rest is history. So what I would say is that men needs to talk. Who are the mentors in your life? Who are the father figures? Not only your Yesterday I came in. Was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. No, Thursday. No, yes, Thursday, right? Oh, so fast that you don't even know. Yes, Thursday. I came in. One of my mentors was celebrating his birthday, June 12th. I had to be there. I said I have to be there. These are the people we learn from. So you need to have mentors. Uh, um, as young and as matured as a doctor, our president is Mike. I learned from him. YF, these are people, even though we're contemporaries, that right, and colleagues, I learn from them. So men need to talk. We need to talk to ourselves. Have a support system, either your family, your friends, your colleagues, your bosses, external parties that you can speak to. And I want to recommend, I think that I see what's going on in HARP here, right? And I think that we can leverage this forum, right, to help support the guys who, of course, like there's a saying, it is the child that is shikpa the mother base. It is when you open up your arms, people can help you. But if you don't, of course, and for confidentiality's sake, if you don't, you will not. That help, if it comes, and when it comes, it might be late. So I would say, men, speak, speak, speak. Celebrate yourself. Take care of yourself. Right? That was something I shared with my friends, and take care of women. Who will take care of you just to have peace? Say, take care of yourself so that I can take care of the women for you to have peace. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of the women in your life for you to have peace. So intentional, not only about taking care of the children, be intentional about yourself. Have your presence of mind that when you need help, call for that help.
Thank you, Joshua. I'll just ask one final question before I hand over to Babatunde again. But this question will go to Joseph Ogundare. I don't know if he's still in transit, if it's okay for him to take this question now. Joseph, please confirm.
Please go ahead. I'll try. Just
All
that my
right.
network is going in and out.
All right. So, Joseph, for someone who is into organizational design, talent management and training, of course, if you could design the perfect HR policy to support active fatherhood in Nigeria, what are the top 3 things that you would include? So, are
Hello,
you there?
please. Sorry, if you can hear me, please. Can you take your question again?
Yes. I
okay.
said.
Can you or if you can hold on to the question? I think I'm almost where I'm going. There's no traffic. Maybe you can push on that question to other persons, and then I can take this one. Okay, take it again. Let me see if I can hear you. The noise. You can hear the noise. We went as a group to where I was going to.
All right. So the question is, if you can design a perfect HR policy, to support fathers in the organization. What are the top 3 things that you would include in this policy?
Thank you for living. Bless you. Okay. If I heard your question very well, I want to be very fast in pushing that through. First is one that I want one that helps the father to be real. Okay. I'll have one that helps the father to be real. One of the things we don't see now is the fact that a lot of fathers carry too much on the inside. And society say be a man. And it is that be a man that is killing many men. Some are dying in their sleep, some are dying on the steering because they are carrying too much. And society is not allowing them to either cry out because they are men. So one will be one that addresses that aspect, that helps them to position themselves in such a way that it allows them to be real. It allows them to be real, to speak out. Secondly, it's another one that allows them to understand the fact that they're not superhuman, that they are still flesh and blood. They are human, they are spirits having a human experience. They are limited by time and space. Okay, so um, to be gentle with themselves. Okay, so the targets are high, the standards are high. Okay, but understand the fact also that there's something that is called time and season. I know you said strategy. I know you said you have plans, you have things you wanted to have done. You know how much you wanted to have started earning at this time. But be patient with yourself. Celebrate yourself in your little wins and appreciate where you are on the way to where you're going. That is not to excuse mediocrity and excuse what you shouldn't, but see yourself as human and don't be too hard on yourself. Um, the the last one for me, the third one would be hmm, um, the one that can actually maybe help um, the other aspect of the family. There are like 3 units of the family. There's the place of the father, there's the place of the mother, and there's the place of the children. The one that helps the other 2 units of the family to be able to understand, to be able to appreciate, to be able to sense, certain things about fatherhood, and also understand the fact that they are the greatest support system around this being, and to be intentional about, playing that role. So for me, these 3 is crucial for the survival of the modern man. Everything I would want to design would start with this top 3 to help make sure that they can get it in great abundance, and to help their life get better, to help them look young, because many of them are 40, 50, but they are looking 70, because the troubles of life, has taken them to another level. Sometimes they are sitting with you on the dining table, they are not there. Their bodies, their spirit have traveled, but like I said, we are humans, so if I want to look at top 3 things I'd want to look at and do, I'd want to do around these. I don't know if I answered your question.
All right, thank you so much. You indeed answered my question, and just also looking outside of this conversation, I know quite a number of organizations are doing a lot of things to support, fathers. Of course, recognizing that there is a lot of pressure on fathers at the home front. I know one organization is doing spousal payments where they pay a certain percentage of the employee, the male employee salary where he's married to the wife. Of course, just to put a little bit of relief at the home front. And in my organization, we have what we call the Frontline Workers Initiative, where we offer scholarship to the children of employees at certain categories, certain grades, just to relieve that pressure. And of course, the scholarship extends beyond even when they are employees, even when they leave, provided they have, earned the scholarship is still sustained. So, I mean, these are a lot of initiatives that some companies are also doing, thinking about fathers, thinking about parents, and also recognizing that there's a lot of pressure. So I will hand over to Baba Tunde, Emmanuel, so that he can conclude this session.
Okay, my apologies. I didn't know you were asking sorry, I didn't want to take those questions or fetch from the place of organizations, but all
Oh,
encompassing too. Thank you very
yes.
much for putting that forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. Emmanuel, are you still on the call? All right. Okay. Where Emmanuel is not available, I'll come to Daniel. Daniel, I mean, we hear a lot about men should toughen up. You're a man, be a man, or he needs to learn the hard way and the rest of it. But how do you personally, you know, organize yourself, to remain resilient without damaging your emotional health? Oh, Daniel, you're muted.
All right. So, like I said earlier, there's need for us to uh, understand that it's okay to, to be weak, but at the same time, we must be conscious and deliberate about how we, come back. So, if a man should fall, it's not just about the falling; it's about how do you, restate yourself back to, to your stand. So what I would say this is that the society has this expectation for us as fathers, as men, that if you are seen to maybe crying or something, you are weak, which is wrong. So I would say that the best thing for us to do is to to open up to someone, find a way to just identify someone you can actually speak to, someone that when you speak to he or she, you can get your footing back. So it's not just about your vulnerability. It's about identifying someone in your cycle that you can run to. Just like what I think Mr. Joshua said earlier, that for our president, that there are times that you will need to still meet with him on certain issues. So we must voice out. We must ensure that we do not just bottle up so many things that at the end of the day you just discover that, oh, something is actually wrong with our system. So we must be intentional about voicing that, and that's why this conversation is very important, whereby men to men we can have this close connection, we can have this talk on daily basis. So it's important to to always voice out, seek for help. It's not a crime to to seek for help.
All right, and like Joshua put on the chat, above all, trust and have faith in God, which I think is very relevant to this conversation as well. So I'm coming down to um, Ikena again. You have spoken a lot about personal experiences and also helping to nurture children in your communities, in your space. How can what advice would you give to fathers now? How they can build resilience in their children through their everyday actions.
Okay, your question is what advice can I give to fathers?
Yes. What advice would you give to fathers, to be, to build resilience in their children through their everyday actions?
Okay, thank you. So the first thing you need to have in mind is that whatever you are doing for your kids, especially for many of us that maybe have not had kids, or maybe your kids are still young, is for tomorrow. It's for tomorrow. So you must be deliberate, intentional about, as a father, playing your role in the kid's life. The society maybe have not really befriend its own way, because you can see so many NGOs for women, but you don't have so many NGOs for men. In fact, I don't even know one. So maybe there are, but I don't know any. That's to show you how scarce it is. There are no NGOs for men that are divorced, men that are single fathers, men that their wife is beating them. We don't have such NGOs, but we have so many gender-based NGOs for women specifically. The society is also fair that when the days of father celebration, you hear things like Happy Father's Day to all responsible fathers. But on the day of Mother's Day celebration, you hear Happy Mother's Day to women playing the role of fathers. So it tells that even as a man, you need to do extra, to place a stamp in the heart of your kids. And for me, I've mapped out some key places. One of them is social/religious. Social/religious. We're trying as much as possible to ensure that my children know God, follow God's way, but they are not sacrificing their social life. For instance, I'm a Christian. Permit me to use this analogy. Even Jesus Christ, who was God himself, also went to social events. He went for a wedding at Cana. So, but sometimes as parents, we are too stiff and rigid to say, okay, no, you will not go to Monica's birthday, you will not go to Ikena's birthday, you will not go to that person's birthday. So, one of the things I advise parents is let that balance be there. Allow them, let there be a time for church, let there be a time for mosques, let there be a time for social aspect. And that one is not sacrificing brilliance for intelligence. We parents do that a lot. We want our kids to take first in school. We want our kids to get 1,000 average out of 1,000 average. But you see, the society have shown that intelligence rules the world more than brilliance. That is why you have those who are, it might not be a good example, well, but it's what it is. You have first class 2-1 working for third class who genuinely made their wealth. So it's not about whether they are politicians or they find their way in a crooked way. No. Or they put their hands in dirty things. We have to begin to also, from very young age, begin to train our children deliberately for intelligence. Like my own, I always like using myself as an example. If you are following me on LinkedIn, you'll see I was playing chess with my daughter at 2 years, 6 months, and she was able to move her knight. For those who know how to play chess, you know that moving your knight, you know what it means. It's extra calculation. So I'm preparing her that, look, it's not only book you will know, but you need to also understand how to think, critical thinking. It's not too early for the child to learn that. Then also economic and financial realities. We parents also, because we don't want our children to suffer, we don't tell them that financial reality. Look, there's no money for ice cream today. No money for, if I don't have money, not that I don't even buy for you, that I want to buy you, but the money is not there. We don't tell children those kind of hard truths. So we need to tell them that kind of truth. And when children get of certain age, you need to give them. One of the places I learned financial prudence was my dad. You give us a particular money by Saturday of that week. You are going to make account of how much the 20 naira he has given for the week, or 10 naira. I don't know how much. I can't remember how much I was being given then for the week. On Sunday, then he gave you another one for the next week. So we parents should begin to teach our children this at a very early age. And I tell you, in all this, pray to God. Commit your children in the hands of God, that technology and base did not train your children in your absence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kena, for leaving us with that very profound instruction and guidance. But I'll come back to you, Mr. Joshua Bamigoye. Just quickly to wrap things up. What role, in your opinion and in your perspective, does a father's mental health play in how they show up at home? Hi, Mr. Joshua. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Come again with your question, please.
Yes, I mean, I said, what role does a father's mental health play in how they show up at home?
A lot. If the father is not healthy, it's like the head of a fish. If it's rotten, it's rotten. If the health of the father is not, if it's not healthy, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, career-wise, every otherwise, if it's not healthy, the family is in trouble. And just like I think it was a guy Charken that said something that Hope was the one who said, they say happy Father's Day to all responsible men and happy Mother's Day to all women playing the role of fathers. You can see the disconnect there. So the father must be healthy mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, above all things. And you will see it reflect in the life of the family, because then he's no longer on edge. He's calm. Is loving. Is lovable. Is lovely, and you see it reflect on the way in his outlook to life, to his family, to friends. If not, he'll be setting himself up for setting the family members up for failure and for a lot of trouble. If you watch this American setup and African movies and the American set of black Africans or black Americans in the US and co, you always see that there's once that father figure is missing, either the man is in prison or is into drugs. You see it play out on the children and on the family. So yes, you can't overemphasize the importance of the health of the father in the house. It's important.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. You were also very actively engaging us on the chat as well. Responding to comments and also dropping your own feedback and perspective. So we appreciate you. We're wrapping things up. I don't know if Emmanuel is back on the call. Emmanuel, are you back on the call? All right, Emmanuel is not back on the call yet. So let's just take very quick announcement before we wrap things up. Please let's be reminded that registration is still ongoing for our annual conference. The team is the HR Power Play Unlocking Talent, Innovation and Business Value that is slated to happen on the 28th to 30th of August 2025. The conference is hybrid, of course, and day one and day two, 28th and 29th, is virtual, and then we have the day three, which is the gala night at Radisson Blue Hotel in Ikeja. Registration and participation is 50,000 for those who will be participating, for members who will be participating in the conference, and then non-members will have to pay a token of 60,000. Well, some people would say it's not a token, but considering, of course, what you will be learning, given the resources that will be available to you, the lineup of speakers, the lineup of activities for the 3 days. It's a whole lot, and I would say that the value for money is very, very commensurate. You can register now at www.ahrp.org/conference, and please be watchful of our upcoming programs, events, and activities, which we'll be announcing in the course of the week. Thank you so much, and I would like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our speakers for today. We're drawing the curtain on this very, very inspiring session. I want to say a very big thank you from the bottom of my heart. A lot of you, the speakers, were in not very convenient environment, but of course you still showed up. This evening has been nothing short of powerful. We have learned a lot. I have taken a whole lot as a father myself, as a parent, and also as a person, as a professional. I've taken a lot. I've learned a lot. We have learned that fatherhood is a calling, not a calling, and in many ways a form of leadership that is both strategic and also very, very deeply human for a lot of us. So to our very, very incredible panelists again, Joshua Bamigboye, Joseph Ogundare, Ikena Okafor, and Daniel Akuride, I say thank you so much. Your wisdom, the honesty, the perspectives, and the very living experience that you have given us, you know, put a lot of things on the table for us, put a lot of knowledge, giving us a lot of perspective. I particularly like the aspects of, you know, the analogy of the military father. Of course, it brought to mind a situation while I was growing up as well. My oldest brother had a guest, a female guest, and my mother returned, and she just asked a question, you know, like, when have we started entertaining guests in my house? And that sent a message, you know. So that's a lot. It's bringing to mind all these conversations we've had today. Is very interesting for me. And to the leadership of HRP, I say thank you for creating this space. Thank you for choosing this theme. It's not a lot of time that we talk about fathers, or we have programs dedicated to talk to fathers, or to put a thematic focus on fathers. So we say thank you, and thank you for always reminding us that HR is not just about processes, policies. It's also about people, and it's the lives that these people live beyond the profession, the lives that they live at home as well. So everyone who have joined in, I say thank you for being part of this conversation. Thank you for bringing your full self into the room. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your emojis. Thank you for your participation. And to wrap up, I leave you with these final thoughts. May we raise children who are resilient because they have seen us resilient, and God will help us to raise very amazing and wonderful children, and also the home front as well. I want to say thank you and God bless you, and I'm very, very happy to return back 11 minutes of the scheduled time to you, and do enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.